What's going on, YouTube? This is Drano's back at it again, doing something a little bit different today. So with this video, this initially was just going to be a gameplay video for the Cincinnati Bengals, just trying to keep up with the theme, kind of like how I did, I think it was a couple weeks ago, where I just tried to use one of the worst teams in the NFL and try to win with them, but unfortunately my opponent did not really cooperate, and basically at some point I did force him to rage quit. So rather than just kind of be lazy and just post a gameplay where I believe the game ended around the third quarter, I didn't want to, I feel like that would be a disservice to you guys to make a video like that and just call it an actual finished video. Whenever I do make my videos, I want to make full gameplays from start to finish. I don't want to just post videos just for the sake of posting videos like some people may or may not do. So anyways, gonna try something a little bit different. I'm gonna try making this into kind of a podcast, if that's what you guys want to call it. It's something that has always kind of been on my agenda, something that I've always wanted to do, but just never really knew how to go about it. So I figured, why not just kind of use this gameplay just as kind of like a background for the podcast. With that being said, guys, I guess you could say this is episode 1 of the podcast. I'm not exactly sure what to title it yet, but if you guys do have any good ideas of what to title it, please go ahead and leave a link, or leave a suggestion down below for what you guys think I should name this podcast. I feel like there's definitely, a lot of popular names. I looked into it, but, I was a little bit unsure. So, with that being said, guys, welcome. I do appreciate you guys coming through for episode 1. Hopefully this is something that we can keep going for, an extended period of time. Just depends on how this, I guess you could say, the pilot episode goes. So with that being said, first thing I do want to talk about is, what, and just mainly I actually just want to get feedback. What are some topics that you guys want to hear about on this podcast? Do you guys want to hear more Madden related things on the podcast? Do you guys want to hear, real life NFL or sports that are going on right now? I know right now it's a good time to be a sports fan, considering that the World Series is going on tonight. It's Game 7 tonight between the Nationals and the Astros. So that baseball season is coming to an end, and then we are in the middle of football season as well. I do apologize, guys. I had to do kind of a little jump cut because there is some sort of noise in the background that's been going on. It's really aggravating, but hopefully, especially once I get a better feel for how to edit and whatnot, I'll definitely be able to, take into account kind of the background noise. Hopefully it's not too noticeable, but nonetheless, we'll go ahead and carry on. So like I said before, it is a good time to be a sports fan, man. It's, like I said, MLB is about to end. We're in the World Series. NFL it's at the second half of the season, and then NBA just got started. I want to say like a week or two ago. So definitely a good time just to gather with others and just watch all your favorite teams go out there and ball out. So with that being said, next topic that I want to go ahead and talk about is my start in Madden. I feel like everyone kind of has their own little story of how they went about playing Madden. So kind of my start, let's see, man, that's crazy. I want to say my first Madden had to have been, I think it was like Madden 05. And this is going to sound crazy, but I actually got Madden 05 for like the PC or something like that, with, who was it, Ray Lewis on the cover, if I'm not mistaken. If you guys know for sure, drop a comment below as well. But I remember getting Madden on the PC of all things. It was just really kind of random, and I just remember I enjoyed playing that so much on the PC, even though like I wasn't exactly sure what I was doing, playing on the keyboard, I guess, because I think at the time they didn't really have like controllers or anything. I mean, I'm sure they did, I just didn't have one. I just kind of used the keyboard to kind of play. But no, I remember playing Madden, and then after that, my first console Madden was Madden 06. and that was for the Xbox 360. I don't think I ever had it for the regular Xbox. I remember playing on the 360 whenever it first launched. I want to say it was one of the first launch titles that did come out. And I remember as soon as I got my 360, that was the very first game that I wanted. I got that and then like 2K or something like that, 2K6 with Shaq on the cover. And still from then, I still wasn't like, I was like, I'll be honest, I wasn't that great. And then from there, I just kept playing just because I loved to play the game. I enjoyed playing it. And I actually met one of my best friends from playing Madden, who is a very well-known Madden player now in the community. I'm actually the one that kind of introduced him to Madden and put him on to it, and it's just crazy to see how successful that he's gotten playing Madden. If you guys want another podcast specifically dedicated to that story, let me know. But for now, like I said, if you know me, if you know, basically is kind of the way to kind of describe that. And then really, I want to say the first, I guess, year that I actually became somewhat competitive was probably in, I want to say 17, even though like I still played and competed. I tried to compete in the first year of the MCS, which was, I want to say 16, Madden 16 with Odell on the cover. I remember trying to compete there, but at the time I still wasn't very good. But then Madden 17 rolled around, and I feel like that was probably the first Madden where I was actually somewhat good at. And I can attest to this because I'm not sure if you guys are aware, how much you guys are aware, but Microsoft does kind of these little tournaments that they do through their store. It's called, I want to say it's called like the Madden Microsoft Community Store Tournament. It's a really, really long name. But anyway, so I competed in that tournament. I won, I guess, to represent my store that I was played in. And then from there, we played against other stores from around the country. And the first year that I did it in 17, I made it all the way to the regional. And then I actually won my regional. Now, from my understanding, I think I played mainly just East Coast Madden or Microsoft stores. So I guess I represented for almost all the East Coast. I'm not exactly. I'm a little unsure of how it worked just because it's been so long. But because I won that, I qualified for Final Four of that tournament and ended up making it to. Microsoft flew us out to the Super Bowl in Houston. And what was cool about that is they actually put us in the same team hotel as the Atlanta Falcons, which at the time I thought was cool, but then after the Super Bowl, not so much, just because of, we all know exactly what happened in that game. Anyways, nonetheless, so finished top 4 in that tournament. Unfortunately, I was not able to come away with a victory in that tournament because they actually made it into, they made it draft champions for whatever reason. So, it was just kind of really random how that all ended up working out. And then the following year in Madden 18, very similar story where Microsoft did the tournament again. And I ended up qualifying again, basically playing through the regional, winning my regional, and they flew us out to the Super Bowl in Minneapolis, which both experiences were great to say the least. And in that year, I finished one game away from making it to the final. And had it not been for point differential, I would have made it to the final at the very least. So I've come close. I've definitely progressed a lot as a Madden player. And that's saying something because initially I wasn't very good. I tried to qualify last year because Microsoft did the same tournament last year. But unfortunately, I got beat in the first round. But I ended up losing to the guy who ended up winning the whole tournament. So I guess I could at least say that I lost to the guy who won the whole entire thing. So, with that being said, that's just kind of my story. And, if you guys, I want to hear you guys' story. If you do have a moment, just drop a comment below and tell me a little bit about kind of your start. I always find it interesting how people get started on Madden, especially in today's age where, so much like the game and people doing YouTube and just how easily accessible it seems like it is nowadays. So, like I said, I would love to hear you guys' story when it comes to Madden, and hopefully you guys enjoyed my story. So, with that being said, next topic that I want to go ahead and cover is thoughts on the NFL season so far, guys. Like I said before, we're already halfway through the season. And, obviously there's some people who are, their favorite teams are doing really well. And then if you're a Bengals fan, a Dolphins fan, a Redskins fan, not doing so well, to say the least. But, who are your guys' favorite teams? Again, drop a comment below and tell me how y'all's season's doing. What's kind of your outlook for the second half of the season? I believe I've mentioned it in one of my videos previously, but my favorite team is the Seattle Seahawks. And so, they are, as of right now, they are 6-2 with a game coming up against, I'm not 100% sure who they're playing against. But, it's been a surprise, it's been a surprising start, just because me as a Seahawks fan, over the last couple of years, they've, at the beginning of the season, they'll go 2-4 or they'll go 3-6 or something crazy like that, and then they'll win 8 or 9 games to finish 10-6 and make the playoffs. That's just kind of what I've been used to seeing. But for once, it is good to kind of see them start off well, and really a lot of it can be attested to Russell Wilson really playing at an MVP caliber level. I know things have kind of cooled off lately, but I want to say against the Falcons, they pretty much shut it down in the second half, where Russell probably could have put up some numbers in there, but they just wanted to get out of Atlanta with a win. Clearly, especially if they were just going to run the ball the rest of the way. As much as I wish I could have said I enjoyed that win, I'm a little concerned just because you can't go up 24-0 on a team and then barely scrape by and win 27-20. But I know with having guys like Russell at the helm, Bobby Wagner, veterans like that, they'll make sure that something like that doesn't happen again. And then just kind of thinking about the rest of the landscape of the NFL. Obviously, in our own division, you've got the San Francisco 49ers, who are a beast. They're a solid team, to say the least. They are still undefeated, and it's going to be a big test for us whenever we play them. I believe we actually play them in San Francisco at the beginning of the season, or the first game we have with them, and then I believe to end the season we play the Niners at Seattle. So there are some potential playoff implications for that game. It may even decide who wins the division. So obviously important games there, and then obviously the Seattle has already beaten the Rams already. Granted, people call it fluke, but hey, at the end of the day, it's still a win. I'll take it. It's just I feel like just Seattle's just got to do a better job of finishing games. If they could do that and just kind of clean up some of the turnovers that they've had throughout the season, man, they'll be set. Like I said, Russell, it seems like, just when you think he reaches his peak, he's just able to just raise it up another level and take it up another level and then another one and another one. And it's just crazy. Every year that he's played, he's gotten better and better and better. He's definitely come a long way, from the third-round pick that we knew him as back when, he came out of Wisconsin. And so, and then obviously you've got teams like the Patriots who, for them, going undefeated, it's just kind of business as usual. It's just kind of crazy, just the level of consistency that team has. Even though I hate them, I can't really knock them for, like I said, being as consistent as they usually are. So yeah, like I said, drop a comment with how your team's doing and kind of what your outlook is for the rest of the season, for the second half of the season. So next topic that I want to go ahead and talk about is the recent ruling that the NCAA just made yesterday, ruling that college players are now able to be compensated. I believe it's for their likeness. So what that means is we do open the door back up for potential future games in the NCAA football series. Which for me, man, that's going to be huge if they're able to do that. Now, obviously, that's something that is going to take a little bit of time. I don't anticipate anything being done. Probably not even next year, to be honest. It might be something more towards maybe late 2020 or early 2021. But just the fact that the NCAA is finally doing the right thing and allowing players to be used for their likeness. I think that's awesome. And I speak from a former athlete experience, granted not a football player, but I can definitely attest to kind of what goes in to kind of the grind that a college athlete goes through. Um, Obviously, whenever you have to worry about going to school full time, and then pretty much with being a college athlete, it doesn't matter what sport you do. It's pretty much like a full time job. So, a lot of people will just say, oh, they're getting compensated enough with the scholarship. But guys, you got to understand with the scholarship, that only covers your room and board and then your classes. It doesn't cover any outside expenses. So, at the end of the day, like, college athletes are still broke, at least at this point anyways. So, I mean, who are we to try to tell them no, that they can't make money off of their likeness? And I'm not saying to go out there and pay these players millions, just because then that would just make it pro sports. I'm not saying that, but at least pay them something where they'll be able to sustain a decent lifestyle. Just because a lot of a lot of players, especially in football and basketball, I mean, they do come from as much as I don't want to say it, they do come from less than adequate backgrounds. So a lot of them having to support their family just because their family's not able to fully support themselves. So I could definitely understand that situation. And I'm just glad that the NCAA did the right thing in this case, because it was going to happen regardless, just because there was multiple states trying to instill I believe it's a bylaw, the pay to play or something like that. I'll have to look further more into detail about it, but I mean, it was going to happen eventually because California had just recently passed it, and then Florida was already in the process of trying to pass that law. So I mean, it was going to get to the point where almost every state was going to eventually do it, and then the NCAA was going to be in trouble because, then what member schools are they going to have left? Because like I said, every state was, it wouldn't have surprised me if at one point every state eventually did decide to instill that or law or whatever it is. So, the NCAA just decided to go ahead and move forward and just, make that decision to eventually compensate the athletes, which that's great, because what that means, like I said before, is that we should see some NCAA football video games in the future, which for me, honestly, like I probably enjoyed, at one point, I enjoyed NCAA more than I did Madden, just because of the diversity that the game offered, and just playing and representing your own school and just doing the dynasty mode. Oh my gosh, imagine like a full online, like full 64-man like online dynasty. Oh my gosh, like just the possibilities are endless when it comes to the game. And I'm looking forward to it, and what I'm eventually going to do just to kind of, I guess, celebrate that, what I'm going to do here shortly is I'm actually going to look into picking up an Xbox 360, and then also NCAA, I guess the last version was 14, just so we can, I guess, start the countdown until eventually we do get the next game, which, like I said, I want to say it's probably going to be like 2020, 2021 or something like that. So it'll be some time, but, I feel like with that being said, I think we should get a good product. The one thing I don't want it to be is just fully like just committed to Ultimate Team. And I know that's kind of an oxymoron in itself, just because we know how EA Sports is when it comes to microtransactions. That's kind of their big selling point, which, you could do it, like have your Ultimate Team, but don't take away the core features that made NCAA so great. Honestly, if they were to just re-release the game or just make it backwards compatible, and just kind of open up the Ultimate Team that they had in, because I know like towards the end they had Ultimate Team. I would be perfectly fine if they did that. Just kept the game the same. Just obviously do whatever you want with Ultimate Team, but for the guys that grew up playing NCAA, just keep it the same, man. Like keep the Road to Glory the same. Keep the Dynasty mode. The Dynasty mode is probably the most important thing, at least to me, just because I love going out there, competing for a national championship, recruiting. And it would be cool to kind of bring back kind of the superstar mode where you would import your player into Madden. I miss doing that, man. That would be another feature that I'd love to see them bring back. And for me, obviously being a University of Miami alum, I would obviously rock my Hurricanes and go out and beat the brakes off the rest of the ACC, including Florida State. But nonetheless, and let me ask you guys this: who's your favorite college team? I know I know my channel's been mainly focused on pro football, but I definitely want to branch out and provide content for all sports, not just football, even though I am very passionate about football and I've been passionate about Madden for the longest out of any game. But like I said, who's kind of the team that you'd be rocking in the next NCAA football game? And so with that being said, guys, the video is wrapping up. I want to say this is close to the point where we eventually force a rage quit. So with that being said, and I know I kind of asked you guys at the beginning, but what kind of content do you guys want to see on the channel? I know I've done some mud draft gameplays where kind of had a theme, and then I've done some Rags gameplay as well. But I just want to find out a little bit more about what you guys want to see. I want to not only make this channel just about me, I want to make it about the viewers, and I just want to make content that is entertaining for you guys. So lastly, in the comments, please just let me know what you guys want to see content wise. I'm still planning on playing mud draft because I still do plan on competing for the next tournament, which is the Madden Challenge. So I'll have a series kind of centered around that. I did it last year. It's called Road to the Madden Challenge. So I'll do something very similar to what I did last year. And then I've got some other ideas as far as like maybe doing some rebuilds and whatnot. So like I said before, guys, I'm excited. And, hopefully this podcast does get some good reviews. Because if it does, then it's definitely something that I want to keep doing. And then eventually get to the point where we can make it grow and we can bring more viewers. More viewers, of course. But eventually bring guests and just get opinions and just kind of chop it up and talk about all things Madden, all things sports, really whatever topics you guys want to hear us ramble about. And as you guys see here, we're gonna go ahead and get an interception. And at that point, this is where my opponent pauses the game and he's gonna go ahead and rage. GG's in the chat to my opponent. So with that being said, guys, if you did enjoy the podcast, go ahead and hit the like button and go ahead and sub to the channel if you guys are ready for more future podcasts and content. So with that being said, guys, this is Dre Knows signing off. Peace.